Hey everyone, welcome to Locked On Lakers for Saturday, a special bonus edition. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. Andy, is the winning formula for the Lakers fun? They had plenty of it on Friday, and it served them well. We'll ask that question next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, including Saturdays, Andy, a weekend podcast. Lakers win on Friday night. They beat the Washington Wizards.
We do special podcasts on special occasions. A win now qualifying as a special occasion.
The special, Andy, it's the special occasion is when you open the bottle of wine.
Yeah, well, I mean, people may not recall, we made a promise that we would do weekend podcasts after wins, feeling pretty confident. It's not going to require that much.
It's not going to have to do it very much. 122-109 was the final score. LeBron James, his second straight game at the Crypt, scoring 50 points or better. He had 50, a straight 50 on Friday night, 18 of 25, 6 of 9 from three-point range, 8 of 8 from the free throw line, a true shooting percentage, Andy, of 11 billion. He was really good. They got 21 from Malik Monk, 12 from Austin Reaves, and 15 from THT. So we can talk about LeBron in a second in terms of just like what he did. And I think the Lakers had a good time playing against Kyle Kuzma and KCP. It was the energy that LeBron was putting out to the crowd that really stuck out to me. And he was having a really good time. And it seemed like because of it, the crowd was having a good time. The rest of the team was having a good time. They haven't had a lot of chances to have a good time. Fun is a really important ingredient to success for this group.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important ingredient for success in anything you do. I mean, if you are doing anything for a living, all things being equal, you prefer to enjoy it. You prefer for it to be fun. It's not always going to be fun. No job is always fun, but they've had so little this season. This has been one of the most trudging seasons you and I have ever covered in any sport that we've ever been around. And we've been around a lot of them, a lot of different teams. We've seen some bad ones, but this has been really unpleasant. And LeBron got into play into the cheap seats mode certainly by the third quarter, he was absolutely
19 in the third, and right. And he was playing well before that. It's not like his first half was lousy, but yeah, I mean, he cranked it up.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of it in the first half, but in the first half, they were also behind for the majority of it, or at least a lot of it. So you don't want to be celebrating too much when you're way down, but he started really playing to the crowd that way, and it is a reminder that there is the ability to have fun, and there's a permission structure to it, but just part of it involves playing well. Like nobody wants to watch a team that's having a blast when they're getting their asses kicked.
It's true. But it's funny. Like
unless you're Nick Young missing a three and you want to become iconic, right. But
his energy was LeBron's energy was, and his body language, even in that first half, was certainly an improvement over a lot of the games this year. And, we had a debate on Friday's show, just sort of about LeBron and what he's responsible for and all that. And I think the one of the places where we certainly agreed was that, from a leadership standpoint, that those are places where LeBron has struggled. And particularly, I think, when things have been bad, like, not when times are hard. Like, they've had difficult times in the good stretches too, in the championship season last year until the wheels really fell off and all that. But like in genuinely just ugly moment, like he shows too much of it. He shows too much of that dissatisfaction, and the rest of the team feeds on that negative energy. I feel like tonight was one of those nights where he kind of reminded himself, okay, wait, the people are watching, my teammates are watching me. I got to do this differently.
Look,
And it's happened a few times in his Lakers career where he sort of snapped out of it, at least temporarily.
well, it's not likely a coincidence too that this was a game where 6 assists is not a lot by LeBron standards, but the assists that he had tended to be ones where guys were moving off ball. He was fine. He was finding them and rewarding them for doing the things that it's like, man, just when you play with LeBron, just remember to keep moving. Like it's one of these simple tenets of being that guy's teammate and having that guy orchestrate the offense. If you don't just stand around, like I swear to you, he will make it worth your while.
Well,
And
they had a lot of that. I mean, even
yeah,
Malik Monk had some dimes that way.
Austin
Russell
Reaves.
Westbrook, Russ did not shoot the ball well, but he had 9 assists against only 1 turnover. Lakers, by the way, only had 7 turnovers in this game. If you're looking for another reason that they managed to win, they were much more mobile offensively on Friday than they have been in many games over the course of the season. It helps that Washington provides absolutely no rim protection, particularly when Daniel Gafford isn't in the game. So,
or when Porzingis isn't there. Porzingis actually in the first half was doing a really good job bothering the Lakers at the rim. But when neither one of those guys is in there, like the Lakers actually got a taste of what it's like to play them. And you know what? There's a reason these other teams around the league have been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, every guard in the league is like, wee.
Speaking of fun, there were when LeBron hit the shot that got him 50, there was this awesome moment where he and THT were running 2-man game that set up the shot. And Kuzma was one of the defenders, and there was another wizard, I can't remember, but THT screened the other wizard. LeBron hits this shot over over Kuzma, who, again, THT was not actually guarding at that point, is screening or whatever. LeBron celebrates, and then THT gets up in Kuzma's face and does this yell, and it's very like little brother energy. Like, yeah, you see what
it was funny. Like
did?
this earlier in the game, THT, who played, I think, a great game. Frank Vogel talked about it afterwards. Like you see, it was one of those nights where, and there have been more of them over the last couple of weeks, but certainly up into the deadline and since then, where you see okay, there's a pretty clever offensive player in there, but he had a great spin move, finish with a dunk over Kuz, and was laughing at, like, they enjoyed it. It probably helped that they were playing KCP and playing Kuz, two guys who they have, the other members of this team, the 6 of them or 5 of them who have been around long enough, have genuine affection for. 4 of them, 4 players.
And one of them is Dwight, who didn't play.
Right. But probably waived.
I'm just saying, I mean, it's
not many. Yeah.
Down to 4, one of whom doesn't play.
I think the guys who were on the floor then, like, they did appreciate sort of the
actually AD is one of the other ones. He didn't play either. It's
really, and Avery Bradley was around and he didn't play.
Yeah.
We're just talking about LeBron and THT. That's what it comes down to.
But I was actually thinking about that because the Lakers did, as we thought they would, and they showed a really nice tribute video for KCP and Kuzma. Really well done. And the two of them got a nice cheer when they were introduced in the starting lineup. But like, it really is not the team they won a championship with.
No,
like it's in certain respects kind of anticlimactic when you take into account the whole history.
Well, and when you start going through it, I'm glad we just did that. It's like, I knew there were some dudes who were on that team who were back in part because, the Lakers re-signed the entire band over the course of this offseason. But like how few of them were actually on the floor and how few of them are impactful. And then just generally the amount of roster turnover that they've had, when you put it wasn't like they won a title 5 years ago or 6 years ago. It was 2 seasons ago, which in and of itself is also a different conversation because, man, that seems like a while ago. But I will say this, and this stuck out to me just in terms of like another reflection of the fun thing, because like you said, it's hard to have fun when your team is playing like garbage. And, LeBron is a human being with human emotions and is subject to human psychology. And so sometimes it is hard to hide the body language. I get that. But like Friday night was, I think, my least irritated Lakers game this year. Like I got to the fourth quarter and I thought to myself, Andy, I don't think I've been really annoyed like more than once in this game. And that I usually hit really like have 2 or 3 really annoyed moments by like the end of the first quarter.
I usually have
At
2 or 3
least,
by the
by the
opening
first time
jump
out.
ball. I mean, like, just watching them walk out on the court. I'm like, damn it, man.
Oh God, these guys again. But you understand what I'm saying? It was just like, they weren't turning the ball over and they were trying. And even at the beginning of the game when Washington, at the first half was certainly competitive. Yeah, they were trying. Like the energy was good. They were, moving around. They were doing their best. It was like, okay, I'm watching a basketball game here. Like I wasn't angry. It was a very strange thing.
Well, I remember earlier in the week when we were talking about this team's energy level and the effort level, and some of this, it might have been linked to the conversation about LeBron. Who knows? It's not like it hasn't been a recurring theme for this team throughout the season, but like, it's not just that this team has been losing, even though it's obviously disappointing, their record and where they stand right now. A lot of it is how they lose and why they lose.
Yes.
Like if you just are having a rough season because of all these injuries and the Russ fit and the whatever, but everybody is going at this with the best possible attitude and trying their best to lock in, trying their best to play the best version of themselves, you can be forgiving as a fan, just knowing what the score is. You know what I mean? But this team has made it often very difficult to generate any sympathy for them, despite all of these very real circumstances.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Tonight was not one of those nights.
Yeah, I mean, compared to last year. I mean, last year they had, I'm not saying last year's team was perfect, but like they had the stretch where they were quite good before everybody got hurt. And so you had at least the evidence where they were 21-6. Like there was something here. And then they had a stretch where like, how on earth is this still a top 10 defense? Like, they were playing with like 5 dudes from the crowd basically on every night. And so, this year has been a much less pleasant watch even than last year, which got very frustrating. But it was an important win too. The Lakers moved 2.5 full games in front of the Pelicans, who lost on Friday. So a better chance for the Lakers to hold on to the 9 spot and at least have an opportunity to host that first game and perhaps play 2 games in LA. Because remember, it's Clippers versus Timberwolves right now in the other slot. So if the Timberwolves beat the Clippers, the Lakers wouldn't actually have to go anywhere. So I'll say this. These are the games that at least give you a little bit of hope that they can get into the playoffs, because 1 game with LeBron James, 1 game, 2 games, whatever it is with Anthony Davis, assuming he's back, it's like you do have a guy who can drop 50 on anybody. And so, you hope that's there. We can feel good about them for 1 night. I'm not going to let the reality of everything else that's been going on, you don't have to tell me, ruin what was a very pleasant evening.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, a little footnote in history, stuff like that. LeBron, first of all, just putting in perspective what he did in this game, what he's been doing lately. Let me find this stat really quickly from ESPN Stats and Info. LeBron posted his 14th career 50-point game, tying Rick Barry for 6th in NBA history. LeBron is also the 6th ever with 50-plus points in consecutive home games and the only one to do it after turning 30. So that is one very...
Not even like 31, 32, like just 30. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so that's in and of itself one extremely impressive stat. Another one, Russell Westbrook, we mentioned the 9 assists. He passed Andre Miller in this game for 11th on the all-time assist list, which A, really impressive. B, the thought hit me, Brian, have there ever been 2 more different players at the same position next to each other?
Right, in relatively the same, in like the relatively same era.
Yeah, then Andre Miller and Russell Westbrook. Like the only two things those dudes have in common is point guard from LA.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Basically, that is pretty much it.
All right. Let's see. Who do they play? Phoenix Sunday and
Phoenix
then
on
the
Sunday.
Raptors Monday. Like the schedule gets real burly going forward. The
Mhm.
Lakers spend a lot of time on the road where they've lost 9 straight. Again, I'm not letting any of those things ruin what was a very pleasant Friday evening of basketball. So I'm just going to stop talking about all that stuff. And what we are going to talk about, Andy, right now is this.
That Locked On Lakers brought to you by Athletic Greens. I started taking
Mhm.
Athletic Greens because I'm someone who's always looking to improve my health. Whether you're talking about more vitamins, improving my immune system, better digestion. But the problem is, I don't have time to do all these different things separately. And that's what makes Athletic Greens perfect. First thing every morning, I get my scoop of Athletic Greens. I mix it up with some cold water. Boom, 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced, superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens. They help you start your day.
I
Athletic
mean,
Greens.
this is what you think it's not made a difference in Andy's life. Look at Andy before he started taking Athletic
I
Greens.
know.
Look at him now. Look how
I
much
know.
younger he looks now. It's really
I know.
impressive.
It's unbelievable. Like I I'm Benjamin Buttoning
I
over
mean,
the
it's really
course of the like look how
stuff's
much
unbelievable.
younger. Yeah, look how much younger I look now than just the beginning of this podcast. It's unbelievable. Athletic Greens, they work for every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free. There's less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, artificial anything, but it still tastes great. Nice little tropical hint I found in there that I enjoy a lot.
Nice and fruity.
It is. So make it easy. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you need to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NBA network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by Bet Online. Andy, it's that time of year. They're getting everybody ready for March Madness. College basketball's big tournament finally upon us. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, Bet Online is the number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. Bet Online remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information needs, including live betting, your favorite Vegas casino games. So head on to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so the Lakers are in Phoenix on Sunday. The season started today. It might have to restart again next week. We're not sure. But for right now, the season has started. The Lakers are 1-0, and we're feeling good about stuff.
D'Antoni rules.
That's right. We'll be back on Monday for the second game of the season with Lakers versus the Suns. Game 3 on Monday against the Raptors. Everybody have a great weekend.